Lethia Owens. I am the president and CEO of Game Changers International, and you are watching the Game Changers Show. I have the fortunate opportunity to bring to you today a world-renowned international expert on being fit, fab, and living a fulfilled life. Her name is Suzan Hart. Thank you, Suzan, for joining us today.
Hey, Lethia, I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad you made it all the way from Canada to come here. I know we have bad weather, but you braved the weather and you are here, so I'm so excited, okay?
Well, it's actually kind of nice to be here because that weather back there, they can keep it. So we're good, we're good.
Well, Suzan, I'm glad to have you here because I have tons of questions that I want to ask you, so I'm going to try to get them all in because I know you have questions for her. You've been, sending in questions about living a life where you're moving beyond just being stuck and in a rut. And so I brought Suzan on to try to answer those questions for you. So Suzan, we have individuals that are watching who are telling me that they're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Oh, yeah.
And they want to try to get healthy. So with someone who's in that position, what advice would you have for them?
Well, if you have been in the same place for a long time, so the best example that I can think of is the most common thing is people will gain weight, try to lose it, seem to gain more, lose it again, seem to gain more, that sort of thing. Yeah, absolutely. And what's truly going on is they're actually focusing on the wrong thing. And, most people think that they want to lose weight.
I mean, that's what I've been saying. I want to lose weight.
Yeah,
that's what
and you're absolutely right in terms of the surface of it. But truly, in my opinion, what they're actually saying is, I want to feel good.
I do.
About myself, right? I want to look in the mirror and feel fabulous. I want to look in the mirror and be inspired by what I see. And what they're doing is they're looking in the mirror, and the weight is a symptom. Do you get it? Of something else. So for me, your weight is a symptom of possibly not putting you first. Your weight may be a symptom of not making time for yourself. Your weight is a symptom, I call it a little neglect. Does that make sense?
We don't want to call it that.
No,
but that really is what it is.
It is, truly. It's a symptom of neglect. And so when you think about it, the effect we call weight gain is really a series of habits around your health that don't actually serve you. Right?
I love that.
Okay? So we think it's going on a diet, but a diet doesn't actually address your habits. It's just like putting a Band-Aid on it. Right?
And that's why we had that yo-yo.
Right, absolutely.
And pull it off and then...
Right, and people think I'm going to go to the gym. Well, going to the gym is a great start, but if you don't understand why you're truly going, it's another Band-Aid. So when someone is stuck, I'm more interested in their habits, their beliefs, and their attitude.
Beliefs and attitude?
Yeah.
Are those important?
For
when
sure.
When it comes to losing weight?
For sure.
So tell me more about that.
When I started doing this, and I teach from my own journey, right? So when I started looking at losing weight and so on and so forth, the interesting thing was I'm an athlete, and when I used to compete, I used to be able to hit the mark. So I get in on point, on shape, so I knew how to lose weight.
Okay.
What was interesting was every time I got there, I would get to the competition was over, and it was almost like, Lethia, I would eat my way back to I don't know where.
Wow.
Now, understand, I know what I'm doing. I know the formula.
Because you're an athlete.
Because I'm an athlete, and I hit the mark. I'm ready for contest. But this was the interesting thing. I had a belief that when I got there, it was done.
Like it was finished, like you'd arrived.
I've arrived. I had that belief in my mind that when I step on that stage, the minute I step off, we're done.
So that doesn't seem to serve us well.
It doesn't serve me. So my belief was when I hit my goal, it's over. So once I hit my goal, I would go back to all the things I did before because in my mind, my belief was it was over.
So what I'm hearing you say, which is, it's making a lot of sense because I have friends who are like, oh, I have to go to my high school reunion, or oh, I'm going to this wedding, and they lose all this weight for that event, and then you see them 3 months later, and you're like, girl, what happened?
Right?
I thought you had,
And so this is the thing. They had the belief that once they walked through the door, made the grand entrance, everybody went, ooh, ah, right? Because that's what we want.
That's what we want, yeah.
And then they're like, oh, good, done. And then what happens, because they haven't made any behavior change, remember we talked about habits, it's about habits, because they haven't really changed any habits that they're aware of, they are going to just go back to where they were. The old habits will kick in. But this was the other interesting thing for me as I was going through this journey, was not only did I realize that I hadn't mentally changed any habits, and I had a belief that when I got there it was done, but this was the other interesting thing. No matter where we go in life, there's a responsibility to it, right? You're getting this. There's a responsibility to this. So for me, when I got into great shape, I became noticeable. Like noticeable, like, ooh, noticeable, like, noticeable.
I love her.
And the reaction of Suzanne was like, oh. I was not ready for being noticed in that way. So, and I will say this.
That could be scary for some people, I guess.
Oh, let me tell you. I'm going to say this to every woman listening, right? We want all that. But when you arrive there, it can be overwhelming. It can be way too much attention. So for me, when I was younger, it was way too much attention. So my eating, it was like I was eating my way back to safety. Let's eat. Because I wanted to get to a place where I was noticed just enough so I didn't get too much attention. But this was the interesting thing. Whenever I got to that place where I didn't get as much attention, I missed the attention. So it was like this vicious
cycle.
Right? Like. So yo-yo, do you see? Oh, let's go get it. Let's run from it. Let's go get it. Let's run from it. Let's go get it. So for me, I had to actually do some work below the surface. So it wasn't about getting there. It was about staying there.
Yeah.
And in order to stay there, Lethia, I had to become present to some past experiences, some beliefs I had about my femininity, some beliefs I had about what it meant to be sexy, some beliefs I had, period, on all those things. And it wasn't until I began to unpack them and come to terms with them that I could actually go to that place I wanted to be and stay there.
So what I'm hearing you say that while I want to lose weight, get on the scale, and see that the number is changing, that if that's my focus, it actually could hinder me, because it sounds like you're saying that there's more of almost a mental game that you have to play if you want to lose weight and to really be in shape and to feel good. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, because we are conditioned to believe that health is something we do.
Okay.
Right? So we go to the gym, we eat right, it's something we do, right?
Okay.
I truly believe that health is a way of being. It is who I am, right?
That's interesting. That's a unique perspective that I hadn't heard before.
Yeah, it is who I am, and it's how I relate to myself. So if there's a disconnect with who I believe myself to be in this moment and who I believe I must be where I'm going, I won't actually get there or stay there. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a part of it is really understanding is that for me, I tell people I am health. I am healthy. That's why we say it. I am healthy.
Can I practice?
Yes.
Okay. I am healthy. I am healthy. I like that.
Right?
Why don't you try that? Let's say it all together, right? Let's tell everybody watching that we're going to do this together.
I am health. I am healthy.
That kind of even feels good. Like there's something that is kind of happening. I feel it makes me feel more powerful and grounded somehow.
And because it's an ownership, right? And
I can feel the transformation because my brain is like I'm thinking of things differently now that I'm hearing you talk about this.
And that's such a great notice because, you know, when you think of I am health, you're probably also beginning to see a picture of what that looks like. So I truly believe that words have power, and I know you believe that too.
Absolutely.
So when I say I'm going on a diet, do you hear the difference?
Yes.
I want to lose 20 pounds. There's nothing inspiring about that statement. There's nothing sexy about that statement. There's nothing fun about that statement. There's nothing about you in that statement. Do you get what I'm saying? But when you say, I am health, the next question is, well, what does that look like?
Okay.
So now you're inspired to maybe create a vision of your I amness.
And that vision then pulls us forward, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So rather than running away from 20 pounds, right? Let's lose it. Let's run, right? Rather from running away from it. Yeah.
Driving.
You know, and people run hair on fire, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But that is a painful goal. But if you were to say, I'm health, and my picture of health is that I have energy. It is that I'm lean. It is that I'm strong. It is that I take care of myself. I'm wearing this. I'm doing this. Now you have a vision that is way more inspiring than, let me lose 30 pounds.
So, you know, one of the things that I find interesting is I'm 23 pounds lighter than I was at my heaviest.
Okay. Congratulations.
And thank you. And the moment I would focus on the scale, it became stressful to focus on the health and losing weight. And it seemed like the scale stopped responding. But when I focused on, I just want to feel good. I'm tired of walking up one flight of stairs in my home, getting to the top of the stairs and sounding like I've run a marathon, right? And I have diabetes and high blood pressure. And so the other thing is I want to be healthy. I want to reduce my risk of having a heart attack or stroke. And when I focused on those things, I am health, right? I am healthy. Then everything else seemed to fall in line. And just in reading your book and talking to you, I know that you also have this mindset, but the viewers who are watching us, they may not quite be there yet. So talk to us a little bit about how when you seek health and wealth, that when you put the combination of health and wealth, that you actually create freedom for yourself.
Absolutely. And I just want to touch on one of the things you said, because it's so important, right? You said as soon as you put away the scale, you felt better. And for me, I always ask people this question: why do you need a scale to determine how you feel or how you look, right? Because you can look in the mirror and go, right? Or right? So that's the very first thing. The other thing is the minute you started to get present to being health, you started looking at you differently, right? So you didn't look at yourself as just weight. You looked at yourself with all the dimensions that make up Lethia. And that's a whole different way of looking. And it's a whole different way of having successes. Right? I have success in this area. I have success in that area. I have success in this area. I have success because we are multifaceted people.
Absolutely.
But we're conditioned to just get on the scale, and that determines good or bad.
Right, and it affects our mood.
And it affects everything. So it's beautiful that you're actually saying, you know what? That's not the determinant. The determinant is how I feel, how I look, how my energy is, what I'm eating, and trusting, right? Walking in faith, trusting that as you continue on the day-to-day health journey and your commitment is there every day, that things will fall into place. Absolutely. And that's what you're experiencing.
Absolutely.
So, connection between health and money, health and wealth, health and relationships, health in almost anything you do. In my mind, it's simply this. I truly believe that when I master my physical being, my emotional being, my spiritual being, I create such a level of mastery that it changes everything in my life. So if you think about it, I bet you everyone listening has struggled with this thing called health, right? Whether it be weight, energy, sleep, so on and so forth, because it's the only thing we can do for ourselves. No one can do this for you. So when you're managing your health,
get someone to do it for me.
I know.
Because
we all do.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, when you're managing your health, it is the most intimate relationship you'll have with yourself, right? It's you in relationship with you.
And that's why it probably doesn't work sometimes, is because people are out of relationship with
themselves. Most people walk around disconnected from themselves,
That's
right?
good, Suzanne.
Oh,
That's good.
most people walk around disconnected from themselves. You know, if you ask people if they looked in the mirror, I believe most women look from here up, and they are not too present from there down.
And this is so true, because if you look at social media, I remember, and I'm not gonna call any names because I don't want you guys, you're probably watching, but I had taken a picture of them full body, and they said, "No, take that down. My friends from high school don't know I'm fat." Because all of her selfies were just like from here up.
Right.
She would only show from here up. It's so wild.
But think about that. This is why the scale is so scary. Because if we're disconnected and we look from here up, we're not connected to what's going on from here down. And I can't take care of what I'm disconnected from.
Yes.
I don't
Absolutely.
I'm not present.
Right.
Right? So the minute you start getting connected and you start actually looking and being present and checking things out, you'll begin to see yourself differently. And if you start looking from a loving place versus a critical place, you will experience yourself differently.
You know what, Suzanne, I remember being in my 20s and even my early 30s and not personally having mind-body connection. I would hear my girlfriends say things like, "Oh, it's that time." And I'm like, "Really? Well, not yet. It's coming." And I'm like, "How do you know it's coming?" Because they had a connection to their body, and I didn't have that.
Yeah.
And I later realized it was because I didn't love my body. I didn't accept my body. I wasn't connected to my body, like you said.
Absolutely.
And it was almost like, and I'd never used the word sexy to describe myself, but the moment I connected myself with my body, I absolutely fell in love with it. And I didn't lose any weight. Nothing else changed about my body. But it was almost like overnight, I looked in the mirror with all my irregular curves and my little extra body fat. But I fell madly in love with my body. And that's when I developed
that connection.
The connection. Like I could sense what was going on in my body.
And this is the interesting thing, Lethia. There's only one you. You are unique. And we all have our unique curves and lengths and shortness and all that stuff.
I think I'm 6 feet tall in my head.
And you can stretch, girl, right? And that's all that matters. You can reach. So, but this is the thing. We are all unique. And when you start looking at yourself from a place of love, you will start to notice, oh my gosh, I have a beautiful smile. Oh my goodness, I have nice eyes. Oh my goodness, look at this, look at that. You'll notice what's magnificent about you.
Yes.
But this is the other thing. You'll also notice what's possible. Right?
You didn't say what's wrong or what's flawed.
What's possible.
Because we already see the flaws. So
Right.
It's natural. It's like we just see it naturally. But
And that's why I say if you look from a place of love,
Yes.
right? Because when you look from a place of flaws, that's what you're going to see, flaws. But if you begin to be present and you look at yourself from a place of love, you will see what's amazing. And for some people, they notice their eyes for the first time. They notice their smile. They notice how broad their shoulders are. They notice all sorts of wonderful things. But the other thing is they'll begin to notice what's possible because they'll see their own potential. They'll see their own light. And this is where the correlation between your health and your wealth come in, is that when I begin to see what's possible physically, and I truly begin to believe it, that strength, that confidence, that I call it that swagger. You know, you got that swagger, oof, loving me, right? It begins to, its energy begins to translate and move into how you do business, how you do relationships, how you do all those things. So that's the first piece. I think the second piece is, we look at health and wealth as there's this and there's that. So I choose health and maybe I'll neglect my wealth. I'll choose wealth and I don't have time for health. That's kind of how we do it. I want you to think,
one, lose the other,
right,
almost
I want you to
sometimes.
think of it like this. It's like the heads and tails of a coin.
Okay.
You can't have a coin without the heads or the tail,
Yeah.
right? So you cannot have true wealth without this thing called health. You cannot have true health without this thing called wealth. And I'll tell you how I got to know this.
Okay.
My background's family counseling, crisis counseling. And I used to manage a drop-in, which is a day program for women who are living on the streets. Now, when I first started working there, like most people, I had my preconceived notion of who lived on the streets.
Like
Yeah.
people who just didn't want to work,
Right? People didn't want to work. They were lazy. I had all of that. I will totally confess.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
As I began to talk to the women that were using the services, I met chemists, psychologists, doctors, lawyers, physicians. The list went on. It boggled my mind, but it got me a little nervous because now there was no disconnection, right? Like I could end up. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And so as I began to ask the question, what happened? It was always one of two answers. I lost my money and then I lost my health. I lost my health and I lost my money. And I was
That's
like,
good.
oh.
That's good.
Because they are like this. But this is the reality is, and for all men and women, if your desire or my desire is to be truly free, freedom lives in first your physical, emotional, and spiritual health.
Yes.
And your wealth.
Okay.
Because if one of those are missing, you are no longer free.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? You are no longer free in the same way. Because
Like the freedom to go and to be and to do and to travel.
right.
Yeah.
The freedom that comes with not having to balance your bank account so that you can go somewhere or buy something. And the freedom of being able to run upstairs, roll around with your grandchildren, do whatever you want because you have the energy.
Yes.
That is true freedom.
Yes, it is.
And life is so juicy, right? So when I talk about being fit, feeling fabulous, and being fulfilled, fulfillment is that sense of freedom in whatever area it is for you.
Yeah.
That is fulfillment. That doesn't come from a diet. That doesn't come from a quick fix. That comes from a daily commitment to yourself
Yes, it
and the
does.
vision you have for your life.
That makes so much sense.
Right?
So much sense. So, Suzanne, okay, let me ask you this. I love the fact that you have this brand called Fit, Fab, and Fulfilled, because who would not want that, you know? And, I'm in that pursuit of fitness. I am working really hard to live a fabulous life with fabulous people doing fabulous things. But one of the things that I seek, which I know many of our viewers are watching and seeking as well, is this whole idea of fulfillment. So tell us a little bit about your program. Real quickly, just tell us a little bit about a program, because I know you work with people and you help them actually create this kind of a lifestyle. Because I don't know about others, but I have tried on my own, and I have found that I needed someone to really walk with me and to guide me and to give me a path and a formula, because I'm smart, I'm driven, and I'm focused. But sometimes you can't do certain things by yourself, and you need support. So tell me a little bit about how you support people.
Absolutely. And Lethia, I will say to you that I didn't come to this place on my own, right? So I've had a coach in the area of my physical well-being for a number of years. I've had a coach in the area of my mental well-being for some time. I've had a coach in terms of my business and my financial well-being.
Yeah.
So I truly believe that if I'm up to extraordinary things, I need another eye. I need another perspective. I need another point of view. So what we do is we kind of shed a light that's different on this thing called health and fitness, right? On this whole concept called wellness. So most people believe that, it's going to the gym, getting the right workout, doing the right exercises, and they're set. But if that was true, weight loss would not be the industry that it is.
That's right.
Right?
That's
Gyms would not be popping up everywhere, and people going for 2 months and then never being seen again. Witness protection program, right? Like you got to go find them. So obviously there's something missing.
Yes.
What we look at is what most people don't look at, in my opinion. I truly believe that your health begins here first. It is you have to have a mindset that is healthy so that you can do the behaviors, the actions, and have the habits that will give you a healthy lifestyle. There's a part of you that has, as I alluded to earlier, to unpack some beliefs, some family patterns, some experiences that are standing in the way of your health.
We sure know how to pack those things.
Oh, trust
Boy, we
me.
take them and drag them everywhere with us.
Baggage, right?
Right, baggage.
So you're required to unpack that. And from my experience, the unpacking of that is what most people can't do on their own. They don't have the knowledge and the experience to do so. And I didn't myself have the knowledge and experience to do so. I had to have someone help me unpack the pieces.
And navigate just the emotions that
Right.
you go through. And
Absolutely. And once I was able to do that work, what began to happen was I found a level of self-respect that I didn't know existed. I found a level of a commitment to my self-care that I didn't believe was possible because I was the busy supermom. Right? I began to understand that it was imperative, and I truly mean imperative, for me to fill my cup first.
Okay.
Right? To pour into me every day and to give from the overflow. And when I began to understand that, making time for me became not a must-do. It became a choice. And there's a difference between the two, right?
It wasn't a lot of guilt with the must.
Right.
If you don't do
It wasn't an obligation. It was my commitment to loving, respecting, and caring for myself. And so what we do is we help people navigate this journey, and so that they set their lives up so that they can love, honor, and respect themselves and truly live a fulfilled life. And what we do know is when they do so, almost everything else happens with ease. Right?
So there's just something in the air here right now, right? This woman is absolutely amazing, and I'm so excited to have you here. So, Suzan, please tell the viewing audience, how can they get a hold of you? How can they know more about your work?
Absolutely. You can find us on Facebook, but probably the easiest way is to go to our website.
Okay.
And it's Suzan at SuzanHart.com, and Suzan is SUZAN at SuzanHart, HART.com.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing your brilliance with us today. Absolutely amazing, and I can just already feel just my thought process, shifting around how I'm viewing health, wellness, and certainly this desire to create freedom and fulfillment in my life. So thank you so much for just kind of expanding our thinking.
Lethia, it's such a joy. It's always a joy to work with you and to see you, so thank you for having me.
No problem. See, once your mind has been expanded, it can never go back to the same exact state. And that's what we do here at Game Changers International on our show. We bring you experts like Suzan Hart so that you can grow and stretch and go to your next level of performance and success. This is Lethia again. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.